solution, which goes by the name Digitax. We're licensed to offer eTeams solution to businesses and also individuals. And we do eTeams for businesses in three options. One, we have integration, where you already have an accounting system and we come integrate into your accounting system. Two, we have a Digitax dashboard that you can just sign up and start transacting. And three, we have an Android app that can also be installed into your POS Android app. So for today's webinar, ideally what you're going to do, I have my colleague Charles who will give a chance to introduce himself. He'll take you through the nitty-gritties of KRA eTeams in the tourism industry, and then I'll take you through the Digitax dashboard, how it works, and how it could be beneficial for your business. So I think at this point, I'll invite Charles. You can do a brief introduction, and then I've shared with you the presentation on Slack. You can share that and start the webinar.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles Kurianjenga. I'm the finance manager at Digitax. Digitax, that is Namiri Technology. And, so today, I'm glad to be part of this webinar. So we're going to present just a few backgrounds on the tourism, the incentives, and some of the things that are a bit overlooked in the tourism industry. And then we're going to touch on eTeams and how it affects the tourism sector. Thank you.
Yeah, Charles, who is doing the presentation?
I'm done with doing the presentation.
Okay, so go right on. Just start off.
Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So technically, today we're going to touch just a few things on the eTeams compliance in tourism sector. So basically, as we start off, we'll just touch a bit of the benefits of the incentive. So here is that the illustrating tourism sector remains a bigger segment of the economy. The government has come up with some of the things to make tourism more affordable and competitive in terms of doing business in the hospitality industry. So this is just a brief background of some of the things. So the tourism sector has tax incentives in terms of what the government has. Yes. Yep. Any question?
No.
Members, so you can feel free to either write the questions on the chat box or just ask them as we go along. You can raise your hand and just ask as we go along.
So some of the tax incentives that have been given to the tourism industry is investment deduction of capital expenditure. So because what normally happens, capital expenditure and granted depreciation. Depreciation is a allowable expense in terms of when you are calculating your profit for tax. But the government has came up with an incentive for capital allowance, whereby it is an allowance that is given to the tourism industry to deduct. So as you determine your profit for tax purposes, so you are able to claim it as an expense, which reduces your tax obligation in terms of how much you're going to pay. So that is the first incentive that the government has brought. So in case I'm a bit fast, let me know. So the second incentive is on the VAT. VAT, there are some of the exemptions that it has been granted to the tourism. That is the service charge exemption. So this is basically the service charge that is given. It's given VAT exemption. One of the services that is given service exemption is the service charge that is distributed to employees of the hotel industry or restaurant in accordance to a written agreement between the employer and the employee. And also the service charge should not exceed 10% of the price of the service charge. So the service charge, for example, I can give an example is, for example, if you have a guest and they've ordered food from the room, there's that fee that you charge them for taking the food to the room. That is the service charge. So if it's distributed between the employees that money, it's not you should not raise VAT on that. It is exempted. So also there's exemption from VAT of service by tour operators. But it's including in-house services in terms of the services that you offer in the restaurant, the food and all that. So and also there's taxable also exempted on goods that are directly or exclusively used in the construction of the tourism facilities, recreation parks, but it should be 50 acres or more, and the convention facility conferences, but this has to be recommended by the commission, the cabinet secretary for the finance in conjunction with the commission of domestic taxes. So the next one is special economic zones. These are zones that have been designated by the government, which are called special economic zones. So if a restaurant or a hotel goes and builds a restaurant in the special economic zone after applications and it has been gazetted, there are some of the taxes incentives are you get 10% corporate tax against the normal 30%. There is lower withholding tax. There is VAT, the VAT zero rating of goods and services supplied to the SEZ facility. That is the facility that has been opened at the special economic zone. Then there is 100% investment deduction on building and other capital expenditure. So okay, it's so that is on the EPZ, one of the some of the incentives. Then we have customs exemptions. Hotels are exempted on some of the things that they import directly for direct use of the business. That is the batteries that they operate the cars, hotel equipment, but they have to be engraved with the logo of the company for them to be exempted. And this should be like washing machines, kitchenware, cookers, fridges, and air conditioners. But these ones, they have to qualify for approval by the Commission of Domestic Tax for them to be approved that for the Commission of Customs for them to approve that they're exempted. So I think those are some of the incentives that the tourism industry have. So up to there, we can just continue in case there are no direct questions. So basically, the industry, as much as they have exemptions, they have been exempted on incentives from taxes. Withholding items is mandatory because every sector, every business in Kenya needs to register for items in Kenya. So this is not exempted. No industry is exempted. So what is ETIMS? ETIMS stands for Electronic Tax Invoicing System. It's a software that was developed by KRA for invoicing, and it was introduced in 2023 by the Kenya Revenue Authority, but it came into effect on 1st of January 2024. Yes, so ETIMS is mandatory in Kenya. So each and every person who engages in business has to register for ETIMS. So it's a mandatory. So if you don't register, there's some of the penalties which will cover that charge to individuals who have not registered for ETIMS. So here are the penalties. For non-compliance, that is traders who fail to comply with the ETIMS are subject to stiffer fines of 2 times the value of the tax due, up from the current penalty of 100,000. So basically, most people think that ETIMS affects people who are VAT, who pay VAT, but that's not the case. It affects across board because it's a system that came to just more so integrate your system with their system, so they're able to see your sales and your expenses. So the benefit of it for business is time and cost saving, increase accuracy and transparency. For compliance, ensure timely tax reporting and avoid penalties. For efficiency, streamline financial process and improve decision making. So yeah, so basically I'll repeat that ETIMS is mandatory for everyone. So and it's an integration between KRA and your system so that they're able to see like a clear view of what happens in your business in terms of income and expenses, so that when you're doing your financial accounting, they're able to capture all the expenses that you've incurred and all the income that you've actually earned throughout the year or through the month. So now here is where ETIMS compliance in the tourism sector. It ensures deductibility of expenses when it's arriving at corporate income tax liability. So this corporate income tax liability is the one that I've discussed about, because once you use ETIMS, they're able to know your income and your expenses. So technically, they have a clear view of what they're expecting in terms of the tax they're expecting. That's why they make it mandatory. So it avoids penalty for non-compliance. And this arises when issuing ETIMS invoices that are not compliant. That is because the Act came into effect in 2024. So 2024, all the invoices were required to have an ETIMS have ETIMS invoices, and also ensure accurate financial management with keeping accurate records of sales and purchases. So specific areas of compliance that the subsector needs to consider include hotels and service apartments, that ensuring all expenses are ETIMS compliant, even from small traders, that is guys who supply even for cooking, tomatoes, they need to have that. That is what is required. So craft makers ensure that they supply ETIMS compliant invoice. Restaurants ensure all supplies, even for farm produce. That is now where there is a challenge with KRA with getting this information from farm produce, but they are coming up with something they call reverse invoicing, whereby as a purchaser, you're able to raise an ETIMS on behalf of your supplier. That is something that they're coming up because most of the small traders are not able to produce ETIMS, so they want you to produce on their behalf, reverse invoicing. So there is airline, no need to issue ETIMS compliant invoices, but expenses that need to be ETIMS compliant. Maybe, for example, that person has gone to the airline, has had food or drinks or transport to the airport, that those are needed. Tour operators and guides ensure that third-party expenses are ETIMS compliant, including receipts from restaurant, lodges, drinks, and purchases. These are some of the things that maybe you send your tour operators to take tourists, and you pay for them. So they need to get ETIMS invoices and each and every expense that they incur. So, and also ensuring all the last one is agro-tourism, ensure all purchases and sales are ETIMS compliant. That is just like trying to put it more clear why we need ETIMS, why it's needed. So there are ways that you can validate your ETIMS, because you have to, before you make a payment, just to validate that the invoice that you've been issued is ETIMS compliant. This can be done by the QR code on the smartphone, you can do that. Just scan the QR code on the receipt, where it will indicate on the receipt that that invoice has already been transmitted to KRA and it's a valid items invoice, so that you can make payment. And also you can use the iTax portal. There's a section where there's an invoice checker. The invoice checker is that you put the invoice, the items, it's called a CU invoice number. You put the details there, you verify, it's going to show you the details of the invoice in terms of how much it was paid, what was supplied, and who supplied. So that is one of the most important things, because if you don't do this and you make payment, this information will not hit KRA. So when you're doing your corporate tax, that is your end of year accounts where you need to pay taxes, you'll notice that some of these expenses, when you claim them, when you file, they're going to be disallowed because they were never transmitted to KRA. So in all these items, issue of issuing invoices and receiving items invoices, the bottom line is that they need to be verified that they are true and they are valid. Yeah, so that is it on items. In case there are any questions, I'll be able to answer on this.
Yes, Charles, there are questions, a question on the chat.
Sure. Yes, you see, national park. You see, when you get to the gates these days, they normally remove the items, the ETR. They normally do an ETR. That ETR is what we call is what now it is compliant. The ETR. That you need to have that as a receipt. That is actually the ETR they remove. That is the items is an items invoice, but with the machine it's called Teams. The machine is called Teams. Teams is the electronic tax invoice, but the Teams is the one with the machine, the one that they produce. Yeah.
Hi, members, feel free to ask questions. Naiseta, you're next in the presentation.
Okay, I've seen another question. How does it mean that all expenses from January? Yes. Actually, it actually became compliant in January 2024. So basically, what KRA expected is that any invoice from January 2024 up to date should be items compliant. But yeah, it had not hit that to be that serious. But according to KRA, that is what was expected. All of them had to be items compliant. Okay.
Maybe Naiseta, you can share your presentation even as we keep a look on the questions.
You can see my screen.
Yes.
Cool. Just give me a minute. So I'll take you through what our solution offers, and then we'll have a demo done by my colleague Emmanuel, who is on the call. As Charles has mentioned, as from January 2024, everyone or every business or anyone transacting either VAT or non-VAT on the in Kenya has to be on eTeams and has to comply on eTeams. This means that all your invoices or your expenses have to go through eTeams. This means if you're buying anything, you have to request for an eTeams invoice from the customer or an eTeams receipt, and also for the suppliers who supply you with any products or services, ideally they also have to give you an eTeams invoice. So with that in mind, what Digitax is built to offer ideally is a simple way of simple way of being eTeams compliant, meaning that our solution is able to give you one integration where if you have an existing accounting system like QuickBooks, Sage, WooCommerce, maybe you have a website under WooCommerce, we can be able to integrate directly into your accounting system, and now you're able to generate eTeams compliant invoices. Two, again, we have a dashboard where either on your phone or your laptop or your desktop in the office, you can just log in and be able to generate, and we're going to show you that shortly. So far, we've been in the business and we've onboarded many businesses in Nairobi, just helping them ideally make the journey easier for them and their businesses. And this doesn't mean that if you have maybe one company and you have many offices within the country, we are able to add your business and to create a profile for your business and all those branch lists, and you can be able to see which invoices are coming from which branch. So we are going to do that a demo shortly. So allow me to go this through quickly. Is this our company profile and what we offer? And this is the solution I was talking about. We have an app which soon it's going to be able, you can be able to download it on Play Store very soon. But for now, we are only installing it on a need basis, especially for businesses that have a POS system. So is it restaurants or a destination travel place that has a POS system for the restaurant, and they need an app to make it easier for them to generate these eTeams receipts for customers. We have an app for that. Two, we have the dashboard that you're able to add your services or your products that you sell, and then you can be able to generate invoices, and you can also be able to offer credit notes on this. The Digitax API, this is what I've mentioned that we do integration. So we have a Digitax API, which we just, if you're taking, you can be able to do it yourself, but we also offer support services for you to be able to for you to be able to be onboarded on Digitax and start transacting through the platform. So what we pride ourselves in is one, easy to use. Again, I mentioned you can use it on all devices that you own, including the POS, the handheld POS app. But soon again, also with the app, you can be able to download the app from your phone and print a receipt through a Bluetooth printer. We have real-time notification. So I think one of the challenge that we've seen in the market is for the people who are using the KRA website, which is still okay, is sometimes or a lot of times it's usually down. So you're not able to know, you're going about your businesses, you want to be able to transact, but you're not able to transact. So how we've really built our businesses or our platform is for you to be able to transact even if KRA is down, and then once the system is back, you're able to retry the invoices on the back end and they're submitted directly to the eTeams system. Again, we alert you if KRA is down, you're going to know via either your email, you're going to see an email telling you KRA is down, but you can still continue transacting. And then also as you transact on the dashboard, which you're going to see, you'll be able to receive return notifications of you've added an item, or you'll be able to create a credit note or make a sale. Multi-device access, which I mentioned. We also top-tier security, your information as much as you've signed up on the Digitax, it's secure. So it's not going to be hanging there around. You have many options of signing up on the website you can sign up with your Google, your Microsoft, or you can just input your details and your phone number and sign up. So it made it really easy for a lot of people to be able to use it. So at this point, I'm going to invite Emmanuel to just take you through the dashboard, and then I think we can take questions from there. Emmanuel, if you want to come, please share your screen. Emmanuel?
Hang on, Seta. Hi, team. So you can see my screen?
Not yet. Yes,
Okay,
now we can.
perfect. So as I've said, as I said, we do have a dashboard and app and the backend that we do integrate. So what I'm going to take you through is the dashboard. So what we do from here is, this is mainly used by individual agents or consultants who need to raise team's invoice to the companies that they're being paid out commission or being paid out their dues for the specific months. We have onboarded a few of the agent members, so I'll take you through how to go about it. So you can able to log in either by your work email, your individual email, or your phone number. So I'll use my phone number because that is, for me, is much easier. So for most, this page will be empty. So for partners, they get a dashboard similar to this one. You also get a dashboard similar to this one. We have several profiles of businesses that are hosted here, and in each business, each profile can hold as many businesses as possible. So an example is, if you went to a Java is a profile of a business, or let's say your Shell is a profile of a business. So, and then each branch can be given their own individual account. So for example, I'll use Emmanuel as an example. Emmanuel is a business. I also run a consultancy so I issue eTeams invoices. So I'm required to have eTeams invoices. So I can have the 3 branches that you can see. So one is still not live, and the other one is live. So the one that is live is what I use to do my eTeams invoice on a daily basis. The others they're here for just demo purposes, but the question is, you can have 2 businesses. So you can have your PIN as an individual. We can add another PIN as a company. So you as a company can issue an eTeams invoice, and you as an individual can also issue an eTeams invoice with the same credential and the same account. So from there, I'll show you how to do a sale. So from this is a live account. So this is a live account. From here, I'll show you how to add an item. So for this sector, you can do consultation.
Emmanuel, are you still on the call?
Yeah, I'm still on the call, just a minute. So you can have consultation as an item name. And then the item type is a service. And then the item classification code here is item classification code is management fees. And then management advisory service or support, so you can do advisory service. So this is also for the guys who are doing sales. You sell a ticket, you need to raise an eTeams invoice. Yes, Naisata?
Could you maybe use an example in the hotel industry? Could be relevant to them. Maybe someone renting out an apartment or a hotel. Let's say like this long weekend, we have companies that will be doing team buildings. And maybe there is someone who runs a hotel here.
Yes.
I think you can say like room accommodation.
Okay. So okay, let's use accommodation. Accommodation works. It's as a service. So for this, we will do it under.
It's a service. I think so. To the members on the call here is when you're doing an items invoice, that's key things that you're required to do by KRA, which is what's on our screen. You have to have an item name of either the product or the service you're selling, the item type as Emmanuel has shown, and then under item classification code, these ones are usually provided by KRA. So on the KRA website, you can be able to go check for the products that you use, what are the classification code. But from here on the drop down, if you search a name like the Emmanuel has, like the way Emmanuel has shown here, if you search for whatever service you're providing, you can be able to see the classification code under it. So or something related. So if you're in the hotel, there's a hotel and lodgings and meeting facilities, which now is your item classification code.
Yeah, just to add on it, the item classification code, you do not have to cram the specific code that the way you used to do for HS codes. This one, you just type it there and the code will auto-populate it on the back end. So for here, I can proceed, Anaseta.
Yes, you can.
For here, we will bundle the item. Yes, question?
Let me help you get the question. Someone asked, can you share the contact details for eTeams integration? Yes, I think the team from KATA will be able to share contact details of how to get in touch with us. And then we'll take you through the onboarding process and integration. Touchwell Safaris ask, if the system is integrated with the system, should I have to log on and input the details as well? Monsieur, do you want to answer that?
And so yeah, if your system is integrated to if you integrate Digitax to your system, you will not be raising invoices through Digitax, but raising the invoices on your system that you're using. So if you're using QuickBooks or you're using any ERP for your system, then from that ERP is where you'll be raising the invoices. What we'll have done in the backend is we'll have done the integration. So that's one, but the invoices can come and be viewed on Digitax if they are fully completed or not. So you can be able now to see the history of the invoices that you've done for that month or for that week. And from after this, I'll be showing you how to do the reports. So let me just finish up with the items. So for, let's say if you're doing accommodation, mostly it's either 18%, you get the 18% fee levy, that's 16% VAT, and 2% with for the, what's the levy for the hotel levy or for the tourism levy. So for eTeams, it doesn't recognize the 2% on the levy. So when you're raising an eTeams invoice, then it means you'll deduct the 2%. So because your price will be 100% plus the 16% plus the 2%. So you'll deduct the invoice amount, will deduct the 2%, and you'll have to invoice the invoice 100 plus 16. So an example is you are charging your service at 1,000 shillings, you add 18%. At this time, you will charge the service at 1,000 shillings plus 16% for VAT. So here on our pricing, you'll give us the net amount. So again, the example is we offer the service at 10,000 shillings. This is just an example. This is on the add item. So when you come to raise the invoice, what eTeams does, it gives you the gross amount. So the amount that you have added there, the 10,000 shillings that I've added there, that amount is calculated with the VAT. So for you, because you have the 2%, you'll figure out what your 2% is and deduct that. So if you're doing that on the levy, but if you're using that is if you're using the dashboard. But if you're using an ERP or you're using your ERP or you're integrated to your system, then that 2% is already calculated onto your invoice. So what we will pick is we'll pick the gross amount with the VAT minus the 2%, and that is what we will transmit to eTeams. Okay, so let me just show you how to raise the invoice. Yes, question?
Someone is suggesting if you can also use a ticket sale example. Once you're done with that.
Yeah. Yes. So for this is we'll add the item that you have suggested is accommodation. I'll charge it at I'll charge the accommodation at a shilling because this is a live account. I don't want carry to be on my back. Let's do 10 shillings. I can quantify for that. And then we can say 3-4 days accommodation. So we bundle it, the number of pieces, the number of quantity, and the value. So let's say the room is at 10,000 shillings. You're doing for the number of days. That's up to you. Or you can quantify for the total number of days. We had 10 people, each was paying 20,000, multiplied for the number of days, or an individual, the number of days. The total number of individuals for the total number of days. So that is up to you. So the math here is up to you to figure out what you calculate. So for now, let's do the quantity as one. We'll add that to cart. We will continue. If you have a customer PIN, then you'll add the customer PIN. So let me add Amiri Technologies as a customer PIN. And then if you have a unique invoicing number, then this is what will be reflected. So a unique invoicing number is, we assume you already have an ERP or you've been using invoices. So we'll come collect that. But if you're using the dashboard, we will automatically give you a sequencing invoicing number. So once we continue, you can skip that. Give me a few, and then we can save the invoice. So here is the invoice, as you can see. So the invoice can be printed, can be sent on mail, or can be downloaded. So I'll download the invoice and show you where it goes. So just give me a few. Let me click here to scan the invoice to just verify that. So as you can see, this is the invoice will give you a status of completed. And from here, you can verify that same invoice on items. So if you, let me share this tab. So this is the information. As you can see, this is a URL for the side of carry. You'll see we raised an invoice of 10 shillings. The 1.38% is for carry, and it has given you the CU number and the data that carry, the internal data that carry looks at. So even if we go here, anybody can scan, anybody in the group can scan this, and you can see that this is a valid items invoice. So you can download it, share it to with your colleagues, or share it with the company that needs. Where we add the customer is, what we do is we add the customer first before we raise the invoice. So what we do is come here, the customer or the individual will give you their PIN. So if you're invoicing a company, you add the name of the company, the PIN, the email address, or the phone number. But the mandatory ones are the name and the PIN. The email address and the phone number are not mandatory. You can always come and add them later. Yeah, so that is how we do a sales invoice. So that's how we do a sales an items invoice. So let me show you. You raised an invoice, you had a problem with the invoice, you need to correct that invoice. So we assume you already had one item, but if you had several items, you can do it from here. You can raise a credit note, either of the full amount or the partial amount of that invoice, and that will cancel out that invoice. And you can raise another invoice again. So we've raised a credit note of the invoice that we had generated. The invoice was, it had one mistake. So you either put the wrong amount, or you either put the wrong PIN, or the details were just not correct. And you need to rectify that. So with carrier, we cannot delete. We can only cancel that invoice, and we can only do that by raising a credit note. So what I've done is I've raised a credit note. So when we come to the credit note tab, we will see the credit notes that I've just generated. So if you scan it here, you can be able to see it, see the same. So if you scan this, you can see that it has gone to carry. Yes, question?
Someone is saying they can't hear you. I don't know why, but I'm able to hear you clearly.
Okay. I'm still not audible enough?
For them, I can hear you clearly, but maybe just, yeah.
This is the loudest I can speak, unfortunately.
Okay.
Okay. So for them, they can come and we can figure out if they can schedule a meeting. My email and contacts are available, but we also have a YouTube link where you can see how we have generated the invoices. So somebody requested we do an invoice for a ticket, right? Or an invoice for, what was the question?
Air tickets, sir.
Air ticket sale. Okay, so the sale will be, we'll add the item as an air ticket first. So we'll add that item. So it will be air tickets. A ticket will be a service. We'll look at the item classification code will be transport. Or let's try air tickets. So we have to look at the closest transportation support system. So what we look is what is the closest to that, what you're trying, transportation conveying international. I think yes, here it is. And then we will bundle that, use it as a bundle or as a, let's see, how do you classify your tickets in terms of packaging units? So do you package them as items or pieces? Let's use a bundle for example purposes. I'll try to see if we can get, and then I know here it's an item or a piece or a number. So the question is an air ticket exempted, has VAT, or is it exempted or has VAT? Anybody can answer the question?
Charles, maybe you can help us out here. Lemima says
it's exempted. Air ticket are exempted. So we'll do a 20,000. The barcode is unique, but if you have a system, then that we can integrate it to the barcode of that system. We'll do the same, verify the same. Here is the air ticket. Here is the status of that air ticket. It's not a stock item, so that does not apply. Yeah, so then the other thing that probably to clarify is the moment you raise an item on KRA, you cannot edit that item. You can either ignore that item and generate the correct item. So the next time you're raising an item, you may realize you have several air tickets, but one was either one is exempted, one has VAT, or the other one has or your PIN because it has your PIN because it's on the D level or the non-VAT level. That air ticket can be on that level. So that depends on the tax classification code you are as an individual, or that item is and then the same process for sales that what you've done. We'll do the same is we'll add the sale of the air ticket. I'll still price it at $1 shilling, at $1 shilling. Quantity one, sorry. Continue. I'll still give it to Namiri, and then continue, and then save. So that will be here is the invoice of the ticket. You can see it from here. If you can scan this, then you'll see that it's a valid items invoice and it's a valid invoice. Yeah, over to you, Naiseta. If anybody has a question.
Yeah, there are questions on the chat box.
Okay.
Someone said some clients request 0.03% of public procurement levy. How do you include this on the items?
Charles probably can answer that.
Okay, no, basically, like you see, items is on expenses. It's not on any tax that is incurred on behalf of a company. Technically, items is only for expenses and incomes. So if you cannot claim an expense and a tax on an expense, that is more of a technically just work like VAT. It's a balance sheet item, the tax that you're taxing anyway. I don't know if I've answered it correctly or they've understood.
Grace is the one who asked the question. If Grace can tell us she's understood, has it been answered correctly? Grace? Oh, Grace, can you hear me?
Yeah, Grace has said yes, she's sort of understood, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So there are other questions. If the system is integrated with the system, should I have to log on and input the details as well?
But no, we will do that on your behalf. So what we will do is we will send you a template or sync the item list already on your ERP. We will sync that to Digitax. You'll guide us on the different tax codes on the different item names from your ERP. So we'll do that. And then you'll continue as usual to raise your invoices.
Okay, Touchwell Safaris, have you been answered? Touchwell? You can go to the next question from Dennis Kanya. When we invoice, we have the airline cost and the agent commission. With your example, ticket costs is about 9,000 and service fee is 1,000. Do we bundle it at 10,000 or we split the 9,000? Then the 1,000 is 9,000 shouldn't be taxed. The 9,000 is exempt. Do you bundle it with the agent commission?
No. So who's paying for the commission?
Dennis, are you able to answer that? The client is paying for the commission.
So yes, so what I've seen for most is because your fees do not have VAT for most of the agents, but if your fee has VAT, then you are charged the VAT. You have VAT inclusive it's inclusive of the 1,000 will have VAT. So when you're raising that invoice, then that invoice can be inclusive of VAT. That is a calculation you do that within your system, and then the moment you're paying it out to yourself or to the sales agent, then you either pay the 1,000 minus the 5% commission, but you earn your VAT through that process.
So is the total invoice 10,000 or 9,000?
10,000. 10,000. The total invoice will be not 10,000. The total invoice will be 9,000 plus 1,000 plus 16% of the 1,000.
Dennis, have you been answered? I don't know. Dennis, can you talk? Yeah, I'm also confused as him. Maybe you can explain it again. Dennis, are you able to talk? Maybe you can express yourself. Okay, go ahead, Dennis.
Hello?
Yes, Dennis.
Hello? Okay, so
yes, I can hear you.
As you have said, 10,000 is the total cost we are charging the client, but 9,000 is what we are paying the airline as a net rate. So our professional fee is the 1,000.
Okay, so the question
So-
I'll ask is, does your professional fee has VAT or not?
No, okay, we've not put VAT. So
So
does
if
it
it doesn't
mean,
have VAT, then
it
you'll raise
means,
the
well, let me just answer. So it means with what you have explained, it's 1,000 less 16%. So it means our professional fee should be 840, then the 16% of 160 to make it 1,000.
Yes.
So how do you raise that on the system?
So that's the question I was asking. If you do not qualify for VAT, if your PIN does not have VAT, then you do not charge for the VAT.
Okay.
If your PIN has VAT, then you charge for you charge your VAT kama kawaida. So it means if the professional fee for your company has VAT, you add VAT into the professional fee. So if it's 10,000, you minus the 16. It's 1,000, you minus the 16%. But if it doesn't, you just charge it as it is, as within your PIN. You say non-VAT for that specific service.
So in this case, let's say it's less. So let's say we are non-VAT.
Yes,
So in
so
this
you just
case,
raise the invoice for 10,000.
10,000.
Yes, to the customer.
But then if you are with VAT, it will be 9,840.
Yes.
Plus the 160 is the VAT, which is the 16% of the 1,000.
Yes.
So how do you raise that?
You raise it with the VAT. So because probably Charles, you can explain this in a little bit in more detail, but this is what I have seen. So somebody will raise the invoice because the customer is not bearing the VAT charges because of the ticket. So you raise the invoice with without the VAT, but you have calculated for the VAT. But the moment you're splitting the fees into your system, you will have the VAT on it.
Okay,
Wow.
let me ask Dennis. When a client pays like the 9,000 is for the ticket and the 1,000 is your income.
Yes.
So technically, I think the 9,000 is not a revenue. So what you do is that when you raise an invoice, the 9,000 is more like a payable. It's like you owe that person that money, 9,000 before you pay the ticket.
We owe this, yes, correct.
Yeah. So what I'm looking at here, the invoice, your income should be that 1,000, which is let's say it's vatable. So you raise an invoice of 1,000 for VAT. The 9,000 will be raised separately because that is not money that you owe the customer. Because this is not your income. Because it seems here what Tesiro is trying to explain is for income.
But then again, you said KRA needs to, they need to capture your sales. So will you raise two? You raise two receipts on eTIMS?
Yes, the 9,000 is not your money. It's money somebody has paid you to pay, like
agreed,
let's say,
understood.
Yes. So that is not an income.
So do we raise two so that KRA sees our total sales?
That's
As
what I'm
in
asking.
one invoice for 9,000? No, if 9,000 is what we are paying the supplier.
So it's not an income.
No, it's not.
So you cannot raise an income. You cannot raise an eTIMS for income that is not your income. That is like money you owe that person.
Okay. Sorry, your name is Charles.
Yes.
Charles. Now, this is now where it gets complicated. By the way, sorry, I'm not a finance person. I'm a layman. Me, I'm a travel agent. So let me give you an example. You, as Charles, you come here, you are going for Easter tomorrow to Naivasha, right?
Yes.
You book a hotel at 20,000 shillings.
Yes.
That 20,000, I earn 10%.
Yes.
So 18 to the hotel and 2,000 to me. So, but KRA needs to see my sales because they need to see that I've received 20,000, not 18,000.
No, what is that now? That is what I'm trying to explain, because I think personally, I think you let me put it in quotes. You're doing it in a way that you're overstating your income. You know why? The 18,000 is not your income. So when you're raising an invoice, when you're raising, I don't know, when you're raising an invoice, there are two invoices that you're raising.
Yes.
One of the invoice, the 18,000 is a payable. It's a like booking.
Yes, I understand.
Yes, like I'm trying to explain. So the booking goes to your balance sheet as money that you owe someone.
Correct.
The 2,000 is your
Goes
income,
as your
which now you should
income.
raise an ATM's invoice. So
Okay.
you'll have the booking when you're doing your invoice. The booking part will go to payables. The 2,000 will go to your income. So when you're
Correct.
raising your ATM's invoice, you should raise for 2,000.
Ah, that is
So
clear.
what happens is now the hotel, when you pay the 18, the hotel gives you a receipt.
Correct.
That receipt is what now you combine the two, you give that
The one for 2,000.
and the 18. So they are going to get the 18,000 with an ATMs from the hotel, and your 2,000 for the service you attach. Now the person will have an ATMs for the booking and an ATMs. But if you combine the 20 as your income, you're overstating your income.
Okay, but then what you have just said, sorry, like I said again, me, I'm a layman.
Yeah.
If you come to me as Charles, so you're expecting me to give you a receipt for how much? Or an invoice for how much?
Okay.
If you pay me 20. No, I'm talking to you now. Don't give me textbook answer.
Yes, I'm trying to explain to you.
Yes.
I'm trying to explain to you. When you're raising, I think Isabella has raised her hand. Maybe.
Okay.
Charles,
Yes.
there is one thing that you see, when our members are,
Isabella, we can't hear you.
they need to recognize accounts receivable. That is why first they have to raise an invoice to the client, and when the client, can you hear me?
Yes.
And when the client pays, then invoice to the client who is paying 10,000, and then now you have to pay the airline, and in that case you have to recognize the accounts. Recognizing accounts receivable through e-teams, and also when you're recognizing accounts payable through e-teams, and then also now factoring in the income for the travel agents, which is the commission.
Yeah, because what I'm trying to explain, because what I'll give you an example. Like for example, let me give you like maybe an example out of this. For example, if you're doing a real estate agent, it's a conversation out of this. You are managing my house. So when you're paid that money for my rent, is that your income? Not your income. So you can only give me an ATM's invoice on the commission that I've paid you. So when you're raising the customer invoice, there's an amount that will go to accounts payable. There's an amount that will go to the accounts payable, and there's an amount that will go to your income, which is the 2,000. Unless you're doing it differently. Unless now you're taking the 20,000 as your income, then you're taking the bookings as an expense, as a total expense. So when you're getting, unless now you do it in that angle, you take the 20, you do the whole you charge even the customer the VAT, and then now when you are paying, you put it as your expense, the total amount.
On that note, are you able to check, Charles? Are you able to check the chat? Someone is saying best way is to raise the entire invoice of 20K. Another one is asking, so how will the 1,000 commission be channeled? Still on the same. Someone is saying raise both invoices. Someone else is saying you bill the 18K for the hotel, which goes into your cost of sales. I don't know. Are you able to answer that?
That is what I was explaining now, in terms of it's either you book the whole amount as your income, the whole of it. So when you're coming to the Digitax, Digitax, you'll have the airline, the booking as a zero, if it's the airline as a zero rated, and then you'll have another line as a commission, which is 16%. Now you book your whole income as 20,000. Then now you come down here and claim it as an expense, the whole 20, the 18,000 as a cost of sales, what they're saying here. With now you'll issue your PIN to this, instead of the customer PIN, your PIN to the hotel to give you an items invoice so that you can claim the whole 18,000. I think that is the simplest way.
Members, any more questions? Do you feel answered? Do you feel we can move on to something else, or are we still not so sure? Are you able to, Charles, are you able to read the need? The trick is that you have to hustle the hotel to provide items. Are you able to say something on that?
Okay, I think
Probably I can,
sorry.
Charles? Sorry. If the hotel is hassling you to get the items invoice, if you're on Digitax, you can allow them to be on Digitax. Then we can give you. We are working on a service where they'll be offering reverse invoicing. So that means the hotel can raise the invoice on your behalf. So if the hotel is not is hassling you on items, if they allow you to raise the invoice on their behalf, which I believe it's the other way around, where the hotel is willing, they're more likely willing to raise an items invoice on your behalf. So the moment they receive the payment, they'll send you an items invoice. They'll send you an items invoice if they are still on Digitax mainly. So that I have seen working with a few. So we have 2 hotels who now raise items invoice. We're trying to raise items invoice on behalf of the agent. So that we have as an example.
Okay, Charles, you wanted to say something?
To see what the speaker said, because at the end of the day, regardless, for your own benefit and for the benefit of your company in terms of managing your expenses, you just need to follow up as much as you can and force yourself in to get the items invoice. There is no other option.
Okay, great. I don't know if we answered this first one. Who asked, does it mean all expenses from Jan 2024 have to be items compliant? Did you answer that?
Yes, we answered because since items became compliant from January 2024, so KRA was expecting all the invoice receipts from that date to today, they should be compliant. So that is mandatory.
Okay.
But what I'll advise probably on the side is if you can get your last 6 months invoices to be compliant, that will be much easier.
Okay, great. Members, any more questions? So we'll still send the presentation to you after this. But if you have any more questions, you can ask, or Digitax team, anything you want to say we close?
Probably Niseta.
Yes, so thank you all for joining this webinar. I hope it's been sort of helpful in terms of you taking the journey to be ETMs compliant. We'll be working with the KATA team to help you on board for those who are interested. I think I'll leave it up to Jerusha to guide on how that will be going. And we'll be looking forward to make it easier for you to be onboarded on Digitax.
Someone has a question? Charles, are you able to?
Isabella, probably I can answer that. One, yes, it is challenging to get items for petty cash, but as Charles had said, it's up to you to figure out to either choose individuals or businesses or suppliers who will give you the items invoice, because that is at the cost of your business. So it's up to you to choose who you work with.
Okay, great. Sandra Tours is still on the issue of the issuing of invoice. She's asking, just when sending the invoice to the client, should we send two invoices or just a single invoice? So you can answer that. Then we have Moise. My understanding of the finance bill is that tours and air travel are not VATable. Accommodation and other activities are subject to VAT at source. You can say something on that?
Okay, on the sorry, on the invoices on SADA tours, invoice you send one invoice. That is, you just send one invoice. But the good thing about Digitax is that you can have air tickets. You can put it at 0 rated, your commission at 16%. So you have that option of doing one items invoice with two different accounts, two different line items with two different tax rates. So okay, that is for SADA. So the last one is, my understanding of the finance bill is that tours are not VATable, accommodation and activities are subject to VAT. So what is there is that items is not technically looking at those things that are VATable or non-VATable. Items is looking at each and every expense that you've incurred, in your company, whether VATable or non-VATable. So that is items is all about. It's not about only VAT. Just like I had mentioned, is an integration of your accounts with KRA accounts so that you can have a clear view of how your business is working.
So first we'll send the contacts, but Charles, you can say something on that? Eatings for e-tickets.
The last, so could you please check also for e-tickets and how to match the invoice they are paying for how? I cannot get the question correctly.
Charles,
Maybe
we've lost you.
Jerusha, maybe you can ask Rufus to just come on and ask the question directly.
The
Or
question
it's a bit confusing.
Rufus?
Charles, maybe I can come in.
okay.
What I'm asking is that some guests or passengers, when they make a booking,
Yeah.
we are going to give a cost of the tickets. Maybe assuming it's maybe the 20,000.
Yes.
And that is the invoice you are going to issue as an internal document from your office.
Yes.
Now, a time comes, some corporates will demand that you issue an e-Teams invoice
Yeah.
before they make the payments.
Yes.
Now, at that time, how do you handle that? Because now for the hotel, you seem to be aligning that the hotel may issue the e-Teams invoice.
Yeah.
But when it comes to tickets, we do not have that open window to approach the airline to do that.
So they want like you pay before they issue the items.
Yeah, we may not approach the airline to issue the e-Teams. It has to be done from our side.
Okay, so the question is, so what I'm understanding is that they tell you to issue the items before they pay. You pay.
Yes, corporates.
Okay, now that one is subject now to like a business to business agreement, because you see, technically for you to verify an items before you're paid is just like to cover yourself. But if the relationship between you and them is it's okay, I think it has no problem, because some of them, like, they want to also cover themselves that they're actually going to be paid, or they're going to receive, or they're going to receive the service for them to pay, because some of them ask for it so that now the accounts can release the money. So it's a business to business kind of an agreement.
Then does that mean we are not going to be overestimating our income? Because I remember you had that commentary.
Okay, now what is there is that what we had agreed up there, the best way to do it is to receive the whole fee as your income. And then
Yes.
you when you're doing expenses, you also expense the amount that you paid for, that was paid for booking. So if it's 20,000, yours is 2,000, you will do a cost of sale of 18,000. So you book it as your income, but there's a net effect. So it's your income, but at the same time you have like special mention cost of sale, or maybe a line item booking or air ticket or something like that, so that it has a net effect, but it won't have it won't have a VAT. So you'll have two line items on your items, for zero rated and for the vatable. The vatable is your commission. The other one is non-vatable.
Rufus, are you answered?
I think I'll reach out on him because something is not coming out clear on that. But I'll reach out kindly.
Okay, Charles, there's another question there. Is there a way you can receive ETRs and tax invoices from airlines?
Is there a way you can receive it? Okay, so yeah, so this basically, because you had mentioned that they are not vatable. You see, I'll repeat maybe you see, items has options. So you should get all the invoices and ETRs which should indicate zero rated from the airlines. That one you should receive. They should provide that.
Okay, great.
So
Any
there's
other?
another one. No, there's another one. Items invoice, however expected. There's one for Kamali. Items invoices that are however expected to be generated to show sales. Yes, so items, yeah, you have to generate items invoices for sales, and you have to receive items invoice for expenses.
Okay. Yeah. Any more questions, members?
Okay, there's something that maybe you might have skipped, which has come up, is that when you talk about issuing or receiving items invoices, the items invoices should have your PIN. You should actually give your PIN for you to be generated items invoice. Item invoice can be generated without a PIN. So it's for you to validate that items invoice belongs to you. You must issue your PIN, whether personal or company, for you to be generated an items invoice, for it to be validated that you actually incurred that expense on behalf of this company. So that is mandatory.
Thank you for that. We have Victor asking, I've not passed all my sales invoices via eTeams, and some of my expenses don't have eTeams invoices. Will that be an issue?
Okay, since we are doing the returns for 2024, and it became effective this year, so that is something that is subject to KRA, but maybe they might be lenient, like you had Cicero saying the last 6 months, that if you have is okay. So technically now that is an open window. We don't know, because this is the time we are filing. So once we file, maybe we'll see whether it will bring issues. So this is not clear even to us, but it's good that from now on that we have this information. So we are not sure how KRA is going to handle last year returns. So we just comply. It's good.
Okay. Thank you for that. Any more questions? Digitax team, you want to say something? Naiseta, you're good? Charles?
I'm also good, unless there's any other question.
I can't seem to see questions now, but we'll share the contacts, we'll share the presentation. So yes, they will reach out.
Okay.
Okay, so in the interest of time, thank you. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for the presentation. And thank you for creating time to attend. Goodbye, and you can log out. Thank you so much. Bye.